Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another round of the Grand Prestige League. And this time, we are heading to Suzuka, the home of Honda's motorsport efforts, and a track that is known for very twisty curves, daring overtake opportunities, and also just being generally a very tricky to navigate racetrack. So we are here this time for round number 8 of the World Elite Championship here. And let's just see how everyone handles it. It's not everyone's favorite track. Dirty air can be very rough, especially through the opening sector with the S-curves, and sometimes following through the hairpin, through Spurn at 130R can be a bit of a challenge. But that'll just be part of the challenges that everybody has to navigate here today. My name is Patrick Goldman, aka Ruckus, and I will be one of your hosts and commentators for today's session. And then, alongside me, who has just joined the commentary booth, it is B23. How you doing today, mate?
Doing well, doing well. Special day today as we're here at Suzuka. A special track for a lot of people, as we do also have a few people bringing special liveries, as they tend to do here at Suzuka in the real-life counterpart as well. And is today, I think, potentially a random weather day as well?
Yeah, that is going to be very interesting. Yeah, Suzuka is one of the few tracks that can get rain on the radars, so that'll make things even trickier, as we haven't had a rain race yet this season. I think this is actually the last chance for a rainy track on the calendar, because we only got 2 more rounds left after this. We got Deep Forest and then Abu Dhabi, which neither one of them have rain potential. So it would have been funny if Abu Dhabi had rain potential, then tracks like Daytona don't. Even though, as a Florida man myself, I know Florida is very notorious for its bipolar weather. But yeah, so if it doesn't happen for this round or next round in SWT, then yeah, it's going to be very different, I will say that.
So you're that Florida man I've been reading about.
One of them.
Good. But yeah, no, it's exciting here. There's always good racing here at Suzuka, as we did just have a race here in real life in Formula One just before the April break that we had to endure. And you know, sometimes it can be very difficult to pass, but there's always good racing opportunities, as you can pretty much get a move done anywhere on this track if you're in position to do so. But it's also kind of a good, well-rounder track in a sense that it's got a mix of characteristics that we've seen elsewhere, including kind of the high-speed, low-speed corners. Kind of hard to overtake, but there's still good battling. It's hard on the tires for sure. But there's also a lot of little techniques that you can do as a driver and setting up the car to mitigate that, or you can focus the car more towards raw speed, kind of against the tires. So lots of different things these guys can do. It usually provides really good racing, and looking forward to some more of that today.
Yeah, we're gonna just have to see how everybody does. So it's gonna be a really fun day here in Suzuka. Now Suzuka, like you said, you pretty much nailed it perfectly. It's got a little bit of everything. You're constantly generating heat into those tires, particularly the front tires are the ones that tend to generate a ton of heat, especially through the S's in Sector 1. And then you got some there's some creative overtaking opportunities here. It's definitely one of the trickiest tracks on the calendar. We have another track that is ironically kind of similar to this coming up next, and it's Deep Forest 2 weeks from now for the penultimate round of the season. It's crazy how fast we've already been through the season. Granted, I know I missed last round entirely due to karting, but yeah, it's so crazy how fast we've been just burning through this cycle of the championship. It's mind-boggling. I was 22 the last time I covered this series, and now I'm 23.
We're getting old, Ruckus. But yeah, it's been a quick season. I felt that too myself.
yeah, that's been a really quick season here. So, as we got about another 2.5 minutes of qualifying, I'm kidding, no, we're still in practice. Don't worry, you guys didn't miss that much of qual. You haven't missed any qual at all, actually. We are still in the pre-lobby warm-up here in Suzuka. Everybody just making sure that everything is okie dokie. Make sure we have everybody. You know, also I do want to wish everybody for those of you who celebrate, I know different parts of the globe celebrated on different days, but I do want to wish everybody a very happy Mother's Day if you celebrate it here today. I know here in the States, it's Mother's Day, so just go ahead and do something nice for your mom. Even if you just give her a call, give her a text. It's just something to show your appreciation to your mom. I know I already sent my mom a text at about 7 a.m. this morning. I'm probably, and although she's not watching this broadcast to my knowledge, but she does have a gift coming her way. I picked one up probably way later than I actually should have, but yeah, just hope you guys do have a fantastic Mother's Day. Go ahead and treat your mom to something nice. And for the drivers on track, hey, surprise your mom with a win here at Suzuka.
Yeah, not a single better Mother's Day gift that a mother could ask for than a win at Suzuka in the Grand Prestige League.
So we do have some special liveries that we got to talk about today. This one on Nuko's car, or sorry, well, it's Nuko and Rogue. I heard it's actually based off of a soccer kit.
That would make sense to me.
They told me which team. I just forget which one. Maybe somebody in the YouTube chat can correct me on it. I get like PSG vibes, but I think it's a World Cup kit actually. I think it's the French World Cup kit, which is pretty neat, not gonna lie. I will say though, granted, I am more of an American football fan myself. It's mostly just because I understand it more comparatively to European football. Or I guess international football is really the better term for it, but I will say...
If it was based on an actual real football team, such as the Seahawks like last week,
I did see
the XO team. Yeah, so then I'd be able to recognize it immediately, but all this soccer business, we don't know nothing about that. Although I do hear, because Rogue, the past couple of special liveries he did were based on sports team kits. The last one based on the Seattle Kraken hockey team, which was very lovely.
I should bring my FaZe Vegas livery for next season. Like just rebrand LFO to FaZe, and I hope Rogue got a bit of a lockup there. So I mean I know we talked about it in the past, but it'd be fun to do like a GPL World Cup type event. I think that'd be fun during off season.
Oh yeah, I like stuff like that. I'm always down to make alternate liveries based on sports teams or whatever else.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've made a livery here on Gran Turismo. The last livery I made was actually trying to turn the Van Wall prototype hypercar from 2023 into a Super Formula car, which is actually surprisingly easy considering they got a pretty easy livery palette to kind of copy and work with. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's wild that we're already kind of at the tail end of a season here. I don't know, it just feels like the season is just, it feels like it's been shorter for some reason.
Yeah, it felt like a really long, a little longer off season than a normal, and now it's just, breezing right through the action. But that goes to show how it's been such an action-packed season. I can't even reflect on it all. It's just very compound. Every time I go back to one of the races that we have done already this season and check it back, I almost forget like just how much has happened. There's been a lot of little mini storylines and plots that have unfolded throughout the season in very swift fashion.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for qualifying to get underway here in Suzuka. Qualifying is going to be very important here because, I mean, aside from, say, Nordwand or, I mean, you can maybe say Tokyo Expressway, this is the closest thing we're going to have to a Monaco-esque track where it's really narrow and tough to overtake. So, with that being said, is going to be a really tricky one. So qualifying order is going to be exceptionally important here today. We do have 11 drivers on the grid, and we'll run through them as they go to get ready to do their opening laps. We have Adaptive Inc., aka Viper, racing for the Foxhound Speed Group team, and Whiteout, current championship leader for the Spectre Acura Racing team. King is teammate, Nuco, reigning champion, who is racing in that very pretty French World Cup themed Toyota GR livery. And then Rogue, Tallman, and Alex, who are all already racing. We haven't even gotten started with qualifying yet. They're all already doing some practice racing and some practice overtakes here. We do have Comer subbing in this week for Lusion. And then we have F16 Dennis, who is the most recent S17 race runner. He's already nosedived into a wall. Oh, coming out of Spoon, I think that was. So that's a very, very rough one for him. And then we do have Lusion actually. So, oh, okay. So I did get some facts wrong. Comer is subbing in for Alex, and Alex is in the high caliber car. So there's our 11 drivers of the day. And yeah, this should be a good one. As Comer now makes his way through, everybody is going to be on their first flyer lap. We'll jump aboard with the reigning world champion of Nuco, racing at Honda's home track in the Toyota. So there's a little bit of a rivalry there brewing. And God, that is probably like, all the liveries here are good, don't get me wrong, but just something about that dark blue and red is such a pretty livery design. And going back to the point I made earlier, I will say that comparing soccer and football, soccer definitely has the better jerseys and the better like merch, I will say, because a lot of the NFL merch is neat, but it's kind of plain. I couldn't really see myself getting a jersey from any NFL team, even the Jacksonville Jaguars, over like the Wolverhampton Wolves or Northampton Wolves or even this French World kit, to be honest, like in terms of just purely design.
Yeah, and the Jaguars have one of the better jerseys too in the league, I think. And but yeah, I agree. A lot of the football jerseys lately, and even more so because a lot of the redesigns have just been making them even more simple and taking away some of the few identifying little elements that they do have. It's one of the reasons I do think, I know I'm very biased, of course, but I also think, I really do, that the Seahawks kind of jerseys are some of the better ones because they have some unique stuff going on, and the lack of alternate jerseys hurts as well. They've been incorporating a lot more recently, but yeah, I've always appreciated that soccer has a bunch more alternate jerseys going on.
Yeah, I mean, like, because fun fact, the Northampton Wolves has an esports team that is actually currently more successful than the actual soccer team. So there's a little bit of a fun fact for you. They actually compete in a few different esports. They've almost won championships in Valorant, actually. They went on a really good and major run in an old, like I think a 2022 Valorant tournament. And they were scheduled to participate in the Rainbow Six Siege Salt Lake Major in Salt Lake City, Utah. But they had visa issues. So, I think that team pretty much just kind of got, I think, semi-DQ'd. I had to look into the story. Although, ironically enough, their esports branch is not from the UK, like the actual Premier League, or former Premier League team is. I think they're now dropped down to Champions League. But, they are actually a Chinese esports organization under the same name. So, there you go.
It's always interesting how that stuff works like that with esports.
Exactly, yeah. That's actually not the only, so interestingly, as we continue to run through qualifying, soccer teams, they really like combining with Asian esports teams for some reason. Because, and as Dennis is going to make his way through 130R, let me go on board with Nuco actually, just to kind of bring this point in. So, the fun thing about this is PSG, which is one of the top-rated French teams. I think it's Paris Saint-Germain, I think is what it stands for. They are paired with the At least they used to be. I don't know if they still are. But they were paired with the Korean team known as Talent to form PSG Talent, which honestly has one of the best logo designs ever. The best way you could have combined those two logos. So, crazy how all this stuff kind of interlinks. Whiteout actually surprisingly way off the ball, although there's a good chance that that was definitely a warm-up lap because he is currently 7 seconds away from Rogue and 14 seconds away from Viper, who is at the top of the table at the moment.
Yeah, and it is a safe assumption that if Whiteout isn't at the very top, that it probably wasn't a representative lap.
Probably a little bit of sandbagging, I would say, maybe. Sandbagging or just trying to, like, find his groove, because I know, and I mean, it's crazy how much of a story this has been this season, but the wind has just been not playing in the favor of any of these drivers here this season. I can't even remember, I think Canada was the only race week that I've seen, although granted I missed out on Trout Mountain, but I think Canada was really the only weekend we didn't see hardly any complaints about the wind. I feel like we might see that at Abu Dhabi as well, because Abu Dhabi generally isn't that windy. D4 is probably going to be pretty windy, which is going to be really crazy because you got that, like how Suzuka has the S's, you got two smaller versions of those Suzuka S's around that track. So.
Oh yeah, and they're really sketchy too, as there's concrete walls right up against either side of the track limits there. But yeah, wind direction not going to be doing any of these guys favors today, as it is pointing straight up, which if you can see on the top right corner of your guys' screen, there is a track map there, and you can see kind of what corners this wind direction is going to be affecting. Notably the S's, where you kind of want the most grip and aero efficiency possible, as Nuco's going through these S's right now. A tailwind through there is just going to reduce the amount of downforce you have all throughout that entire little area, just making the car understeer as he aborts going right through that sector. Perhaps a very good illustration of just what I was saying. It makes the car understeer a lot, and you need a lot of confidence going through those S's. As well, you also have a tailwind going into the hairpin and through the beginning of spoon, all the places where you really need confidence in the car to make sure that the turning is just the right amount of rotation before you get back on the gas. So that's kind of critical corners that the wind direction is not going to be very helpful in. Although, when the wind direction is bad in some corners, usually it is beneficial in a couple of others. So, luckily for these guys, the benefit will be coming in the form of the final chicane and turn one.
Just got a moment of King and Rogue coming together. So they're coming through the Degnas now, and Rogue is there just on a bit of a cooldown lap. So let's see how this one plays out. Just wrong place at the wrong time. He cuts back in on the inside of the hairpin, and King does a little bit of bowling.
Oh, I see. I missed it.
Yeah, I think that
Did it
was,
look like an impeding sort of an issue, or just kind of it just happened to happen?
I think it was accidental impeding. I think he just tried to cut to the inside of the hairpin, just kind of, like I was saying, wrong place at the wrong time there. I think that's pretty much exactly what happened, as we're down to the final 5.5 minutes left of qualifying. Right now, Viper is at the top of the timetables here by about 0.2 of a second. Almost 0.3 of a second here. Alex, though, in P2 is a pretty surprising result. A pleasant surprise. You love to see drivers kind of get in the mix for some of these battles and such, and we'll have to see. I know he's on pretty thin ice with the stewards, though, from what I've heard. So I know he is, I think, one incident away from a race ban is actually what I've heard. So Alex really needs to keep his nose clean here this week. I mean, we know he's quick, but also quick to get into some accidents.
And if we just look at these margins, too, from P2 to P4, we got only 0.07 of a second separating Alex and Whiteout, and an additional 0.06 of a second separating Whiteout and Comer. These margins are extremely tight. Even a sneeze could make the difference. when the margins are that close.
Oh, and Dennis has had a bit of contact there. He's already reset the pits, just losing it out of the S's. And actually, just to kind of bring up a bit further on your point, Comer is only 0.07 of a second back from Whiteout in P4. So, I mean, if I can already see the 6-7 jokes happening because there's quite the sequence of it. But oh, it does not help. Nuko is about 0.6 away. So you got from 0.6 away, the 700ths to 6,000ths to 7,000ths. The universe is ironic in a lot of ways. I can already hear it. Summer is about to start. I work at a go-kart track. I'm probably gonna hear 6-7 more than I'd ever want to in my entire lifetime. Anyways, back on the stuff you guys actually care about on track. It is still a little over 3.5 minutes of quali left to go. Viper still leading the field. Extremely close margins here all throughout the field. 0.3 of a second separate the top 5 here. So very close in qualifying indeed, around a track where qualifying is almost everything here at Suzuka. F16 in that very striking Porsche Project Zero livery, very Sakura themed. I mean, you gotta have at least one Sakura themed livery in Suzuka. I mean, you have to. It's like law, just about. So he's gonna improve. He's actually gonna pull off into the pit, so you don't have a lot of time to really make improvements. Now, Illusion has had some tricky times in qualifying here this season, but he's almost always been able to make up for it in race pace.
Yeah, luckily does help to be one of the top drivers, especially race pace wise on a track like this where those S's throughout the whole entire race distance is going to be a story for these guys, whether it's where they're choosing to make up all their time or whether that's where they're choosing to try to save tires. It's going to be a critical part of the track for everyone, even with different goals in mind for some of them.
As we go ahead and continue to make our way through, it is going to be Alex now trying to improve. He's on out lap though, so Whiteout just began a new lap here, making his way through the S's, the current championship leader. We're going to see if he can go ahead and extend his gap here in the championship today. It is definitely a qualifier track, so you really need to get a strong qualifier, but he's not improving. He is not improving at all, so this might just be a bit of a throwaway lap here for the American driver. As we see for Comer, he's making his way through. He's going to go ahead and burn everything to the line. Is he going to be able to improve? No, he's not going to improve it. He's not going to improve. It's just going to be just marginally miss out there. He'll get another go at it though, so we'll see how Comer does as he goes ahead and makes his way on through. Running on board now with the Portuguese driver as he's going to go and make his way through. Nuko does improve his time, and now it's only 8 thousandths of a second away from Comer's time. So now it is almost 3/10 on the dot, separating our top 5 here, B23. Extraordinary stuff here in qualifying. Oh, and Nuko spins it! He spins it through the S's. That's his qualifying done and dusted. So at best, he'll be at P5. Comer's around as well, so he won't be improving. So it's just down to Whiteout, Alex, and Viper. Unless somebody shocking takes pole position. I mean, we can't discount Illusion. Whiteout's gonna go again. What about Alex? Alex is making his way through Spoon, and he's gonna come to the line. He's gotta find some good time here. We'll see what the sector split is as he's about to cross sector 3 as he makes his way to 130R. He's not improving either. So Viper, I think, has got pole position pretty much locked in here.
Yeah, I'm very curious what's okay, so Illusion is on a lap as well now, just beginning his lap. We would expect to see Illusion a bit higher than 9/10 off of most of the rest of the top guys here. Usually he's a bit more farther up in the mix of these drivers. Potentially a difficult track, potentially set up not jiving as far as the lap times. Not exactly sure. Maybe it's just he hasn't quite nailed the lap yet either. But we'll see if he can get that done here, as it's been looking pretty tidy so far, approaching the hairpin now. And I do know that some of these guys are running kind of certain aspects of their setup a little more extreme, which could affect lap times. Kind of more race pace centric builds across some of these cars. Now, it looked like a very tidy line there through Spoon. When you're on board, when you're in the car though, you know exactly when you've nailed Spoon or not. It just feels really fast when you nail it, and if you don't, it's just an understeering mess. Takes a lot of curb on the insides through both parts of the chicane there as he rounds the final corner, crossing the line closest to the wall. Does improve a bit, only one position though.
Yeah, so now we got Alex now, who's just coming through Casio Triangle. He improves not one bit. He's about 6/10 off. So he'll start a P2. Does anyone else got a lap that they can crawl together? Dennis actually does. Dennis actually has a final lap in him. So he's going to try to go for it, but he won't have time to finish that lap. It's an out lap actually, so he won't be finishing it anyway.
Wicked drift.
Viper is your pole sitter here for the Foxhound Speed Group. He gets P1 by just about 0.3 of a second. So a very good pole time there as we will run through your quality results. It is going to be Viper ahead of Alex, Whiteout, Comer, Nuko, Lucian, King, and ASJ rounding out the top 8. And then we have Dennis, Tallman, and Rogue rounding out our field of 11 drivers here on the day. So we're going to do a quick little reset. So now we're just going to go ahead and set the grid manually here. But as we go ahead and just kind of wait for it, the Ruckus and B23 podcast will kick back up. So, in that case, do you have any plans for Mother's Day here, B23?
Well, this may come as a big surprise. I do plan on visiting my mother at some point today.
Very nice.
But yeah, I'm gonna go say what up to the mother. But other than that, honestly, just a bunch of errands after that. Not too fun of a plan for the day. But Mother's Day is always good, so make sure, like Rekka suggested earlier, everybody make sure you do something nice. If you forgot, hey, this is your reminder. Sometimes people forget, but it's all good. Now you remember. Now you got no excuses.
Yeah, no excuses indeed. Yeah, so if you don't get your mom something nice for Mother's Day, you cannot blame us because we told you.
Yeah, and if you don't, I'll find out, because she'll tell me.
Okay. Well, to give out my plans, I'm going straight from here, straight to work from a good old 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. shift.
Oh,
so,
beautiful.
Beautiful. But hey, I got tomorrow off, so I can chillax. I would go visit my mom, honestly, but she lives in a city that is about a good, cool, nearly 5 hours away, so won't be able to make that one in time for work, unfortunately, but...
No excuses.
Unfortunately, even though I have like 8 of them in game, I do not have one of these wicked fast Super Formula SF23 cars just lying around. So I can't just exactly zip there.
5 hours away is actually a pretty good excuse.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like 30 minutes, then I would have probably been there. I would have probably actually stopped by. Well, if it's 30 minutes away, then I could always do it tomorrow too, but 5 hours away is quite the heck of a drive.
Oh yeah.
So another topic as we go ahead and get this lobby all set up. The 6 hours of spa that happened yesterday. How do you feel about a B23 if you watched it or kept up with it?
Oh, honestly, I did. This is the first I heard about it. I usually hear about most of the endurance races like right after they take place, and then I gotta go back and watch the highlights. So I don't know, but if it's at Spa, then I'll definitely be looking at the highlights.
I will say, it did deliver some Spa shenanigans. There was the good old Peugeot bottle job, unfortunately.
Nice.
Genesis got points on only their second race, which is absolutely perfect. Ferrari did not actually win this time. There's a new winner. I won't spoil who won for you, but I'm sure you can do a quick Google search and figure out who. But yeah, it was a pretty fun race to watch. I watched a good part of it. I only caught like the last hour of it before I went into work. But with all that being said, it was still pretty good. I plan on watching the 24 of Le Mans, at least a good part of it, when that comes around. So.
Yeah, and I usually catch at least a little bit of Le Mans, and not too much, because then I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta sit here for 24 hours. I'll come back later. I pop in periodically, check on whatever team I'm backing that year. I don't usually have like a team I'm really following closely in the endurance series over there, but lately I do like Ferrari and Cadillac. Those are kind of probably my two teams I like over there.
Yeah, my go-to team is Genesis, just because I mean I've always driven a Hyundai, so
yeah.
Genesis by default is gonna be my brand. So
yeah, Genesis is cool.
They got a really crazy car. Like I mean the two Rally V4s just kind of fused together to make a Rally V8 is ludicrous, but also genius, and I love it.
Doesn't Aston Martin finally run the Valkyries there now?
They've been running them since last season, and Alpine committed terrorism against both of them.
Oh, excellent.
We love to see a little bit of Alpine shenanigans. They're trying to go out on a bang by banging a Aston into the wall coming out of Kemmel, but
yeah, that'll happen.
It happens. I mean, we see here too. I mean, in both of our time as commentators across different series and whatnot, we have seen our fair share of Spa shenanigans. I mean, heck, I've covered in the last week or so, I've covered about over 200 laps of Spa across F1 and multi-class endurance racing. So most of those at the races I was at 6 a.m.
Opportunities for Spa shenanigans in that case.
Spa is one of those tracks. Like if it's not present on a sim racing calendar, then it's not even really a true sim racing calendar.
Oh.
Unless you're doing like a IMSA or like NASCAR series, and then in that case you gotta get more of an excuse. But even IMSA series, I know of an IMSA series that runs Spa almost every season.
Yeah, exactly. Some are just, you gotta do it. Even NASCAR, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, but it's Spa though.
Hey, in Forza Motorsport, I've actually driven the current gen NASCAR Cup car around Spa, and it was actually pretty fun. Kind of reminded me of the good old Garage 56 entries. You remember like two or 3 years ago when they entered that Garage 56 NASCAR Camaro, and it was actually doing really good.
Yeah, that was awesome. With good old Jimmy Johnson and Jensen Button.
I kind of wish they would do something like that again, to be honest.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, or at least some other kind of like crazy one-off build that is purely just for funsies at Le Mans. Like not even going for overall wins, just building a random prototype like that NASCAR or something of the sort. Like
it would be cool. I've always been a fan of NASCAR around road courses, as they call it. Basically anything that's not an oval. I've always loved watching the wheel-to-wheel racing with those NASCARs, because the racing they can do is very racing type of racing.
Indubitably. And I mean, it's fun. I mean, I know you witnessed part of or at least some of the Hellas NASCAR Championship that happened a while back. I know that was a thing that happened a couple of months ago, actually. I know Tall Man raced in it, but they did some road courses. That's actually pretty fun. You know what's a track that they raced I would love to see maybe for season 8 of the Super Formula Series, although I don't know how good the racing would be around there. High Speed Ring would be a fun one to try at some point.
Yeah, High Speed Ring is a good one. It's kind of like
It'd be like
Got
kind
a
of our
little bit
version
of
of like the Indy
Daytona
road course.
vibes. Yeah, a little bit of that. It's got kind of the Daytona vibes versus like partial oval with some non-oval parts, and little mix of both. Yeah, very kind of IndyCar style track. I'd be cool with that. I like that
I
track.
think I think they actually call them, I think there is actually a term for that kind of track. I think it's actually just called a roval.
A roval,
I
indeed.
think that's
Nice.
the actual term for it. I could be wrong though, but I know roval is a term used where it's like part of the oval, part of the actual road course. Which, but I think it has to have like a certain percentage of the oval. So like the Homestead Miami Speedway that they used for Formula E 2 years ago, which I was actually at that race and it was actually pretty cool to see. Though, I mean, even though they're EVs and such, those Formula E cars can get pretty loud. I also got to see.
That's interesting.
They are. It's a. If you ever get a chance to go see a Formula E race, I know it's electric. I know people don't like electric, and you know, to each their own. But it is actually a pretty cool spectacle to go watch because it's actually pretty cheap too, like compared to like Formula One, because like the tickets were on like I think $50 or so for like free for pretty much the entire like race weekend essentially. That all happened on a singular day. Speaking of race weekends that happened on a singular day, it is time for us to go ahead and get through with the Suzuka International Circuit for round number 8 of the season. We're gonna go to get ready to rock, roll, and everything in between. Viper will lead us to green here, as the drivers will go ahead and get ready to go. Everybody on the field starting off on that medium tire compound as we go to see those 5 red lights on the gantry. And it is lights out and away we go here in Suzuka. A good launch there from Viper making his way down, but Whiteout's got the inside. The inside isn't always the best, and we got somebody off in the background. Tall man has spun around, but he has got no points of damage. Nobody's got any points of damage. So
yeah, no damage.
We make it through, and once again, we have another race without a red flag. I think we've only had one red flag all season this season, B23.
Yeah, I think so. And in some places where it's way more likely to have one than not to have one. So these guys have been very impressive. I mean, despite clearly some contact or tall man going off there, but no damage, and very clean racing from all these guys this season. It's been extremely impressive to watch, especially in these cars where it's so easy to get damaged, so easy to hurt someone. They're so sensitive. Yeah, and they're just doing a great job.
Alex did have a grid drop for a penalty sustained from Trout Mountain, but he's already made up a spot. He's already gone past King and ASJ, so he's already made up 2 positions here on the day. As you can see here, Tallman he's moving very slowly, so I think he might have had another moment through Spoon, I want to say. We'll try to get a replay of that if we can.
Oh,
yeah,
ASJ on King now.
Yeah, he's just spun it through Spoon. And like you said, ASJ on King. ASJ has had some really remarkable improvement here over the course of his maiden season here in the GPL Super Formula Series. And he's going to go ahead and chase down.
And just behind Dennis on Rogue as well. Dennis, oh, and a bit of a drift. Adds a good save. But yeah, it did look like he pulled out to the inside to make a move just as Rogue decided to close the door right on his front wing there. And a bit unfortunate from Dennis's perspective, probably really frustrating to have that happen to you. But then again, I do believe, based on the car positioning of Rogue, that he was also within his rights to do that.
Yeah, I think that one will probably get glossed over as a racing incident.
Yeah.
There are gaps starting to form here as we're on lap 2 out of 44. And we're going to see here Alex now really making his way through the field as he is going to go ahead and try to close in this gap here to Illusion. And we'll see if Alex can get it done. ASJ trying to close in the gap as well to King. So one German applying pressure, another one under pressure here. as we come to a 130R. And Alex is going to take it very nicely here, just keeping that throttle pinned down as he makes his way through the famous 130R. Now all coming through the Casio Triangle as Whiteout does set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix so far. A 136.875 is going to go ahead and be the time to beat in terms of the fastest lap.
He's starting to close a little bit on the Viper. Just a little bit.
Indeed,
this is where the dirty air is going to kick back in, though. Create that buffer. Just around a 1 second buffer after the S's is usually what's going to happen. Yep, and there it is, just back up to a second.
Yeah, especially in cars so aerodynamically advanced as these Super Formula cars, it's really tough to really follow through the S's in particular. That's where you're going to pretty much lose 99% of your time if you're not careful, just through the S's. So you got to really just be on the ball and just keep your pace on every other part of the circuit, because you are not following through those S's and keeping time. If you do, then you'll make Adrian Newey look like a rookie if you somehow get your aerodynamics that good where you can follow through the Suzuka S's and still keep close behind. Alex now still trying to put pressure on to Illusion, but that gap is seemingly stabilized. ASJ gaining a little bit here on King. So Porsche versus Acura, and then it is going to be McLaren versus Aston Martin as they come through with their very unique powertrain suppliers, their very unique brand affiliations. I just realized that every team, I think with the exception of Foxhound and LFO, I think every other team has at least some direct manufacturer tie-in. Actually, no, I think even LFO. Actually, no, LFO does not. I think it's a Mercedes powertrain in the back of that car. I think a few different offers were pending between Genesis, between Mercedes, between I think Renault even at some point. But Mercedes was the call. Good, reliable powertrain unit. As Whiteout now makes his way coming through the Degnas, trying to catch up to Viper, but Viper I think just has a little bit better pace here at this stage of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, Comer starting to catch up a little bit as well to Whiteout now. It is using a tiny bit of that boost to stay within range. And yeah, interesting, because at first it did seem like the top two drivers had just a tiny little extra step of pace on the rest of the field now, but perhaps they're starting to relax a bit. Maybe Whiteout was just pushing a little bit early on there to see if he could make something happen there. But I wouldn't be too surprised if these guys are just kind of sitting back, allowing these gaps to stay the way they are, and just try to take care of the tires for a little bit and see where the race is going to go and what direction it's going to open up. Maybe strategically, maybe they'll start to see, okay, now I have to start pushing because nothing else is starting to develop in that regard. So right now it's kind of just like in a UFC fight right in the beginning, where they're not throwing too much and they're kind of just gauging each other's range. That's kind of the racing equivalent of what these top guys are doing right now, I like to think. Comer is closing in on Whiteout a little bit, but how we get back to the S's where that gap will probably go right back to just about a second. Yep, there it is.
Yeah, I think it's also going to be really interesting to note that there's going to be a lot of like you said, they're putting a lot of feelers out. They kind of see like what's going to stick or what's not going to stick, you know. So I mean, it's going to be a lot of just drivers really just trying to hold on and just trying to stay within touching distance, but not pushing all the way out, because it is a long race. It is 44 laps here around Suzuka, which is no slouch. So you really just got to get it done and just do what you can, but you also don't want to push so hard that your tires are absolutely shredded by the time that you are pretty much even within touching distance, really. So Comer is catching back up to Whiteout.
Tall man closing in on Dennis for the final position on the grid as well. It did look like Dennis had made a mistake as the gap between him and Rogue had ballooned up to about 7 seconds, just before Rogue himself also made a little bit of a mistake touching some gravel. And there goes Dennis wide, allowing Tallman to slip right through. Oh, and now he's around. Yeah, that's a very easy thing to do when you're re-entering the track right there. It's easy to understeer off of Spoon, but then y'all gotta be even more careful when you re-enter the track. If there's even a little bit of steering input applied when you're going over that green stuff just outside of that curb, it will spin you just like that. I've done it myself a few times, practicing for this track in the past. It is a very common thing to happen.
Yeah, exactly, and it's tricky to... Hang on. I am just now realizing something, B23. Those clouds are looking mighty dark, aren't they? So
it is starting to look that way.
Are we gonna see...
Let me take a look at the radar.
Interchangeable weather this race for the first time this season. This could really spice everything up now, because you gotta really manage how you drive in these wet conditions. Remember, in WEC, traction control is not permitted on these cars. So, you have nothing to save you. Nothing is going to save you.
Yeah, so rain is coming. Now, on the radar, I saw only in the very last frame did the rain show up on the radar for me, and it did look like the color of the clouds was the lightest possible, so it might not even necessitate a tire change if it stays at that level of intensity throughout the that cloud's particular downpour. But we will see once it gets here. At its current rate, there won't even, I don't even think they'd need to change tires. It would just get a little bit sketchier for these guys. Maybe misty, a little colder.
It would be a little slick. Coming through the S's with dirty air would be very treacherous. I think that'd be the part. That and Spoon, I think, would be probably the two most affected areas if rain were to hit the circuit. So, we'll see when the rain does start falling. Part of me kind of hopes it falls to some extent, especially just because, you know, we haven't had a rain race all season long. Actually, I think it was around this time last season where we actually had rain in Tokyo for one of the rounds. Back when we were at the Tokyo Expressway Street Circuit for a season before coming back here to Suzuka. I kind of hope we go to Fuji actually next season, but we'll see. Dennis in the pits.
Be cool.
Oh, Dennis is actually, he's gone for the undercut. He's gone for inters.
Yeah, so he believes that it will be heavy enough for a tire change. He clearly saw some rain on his radar. The radar that I have is going to be a little different to the radar these guys have on their screens. So the rain radar they have about I think a 50-mile range, and it's real time. Whereas mine, I get to see up to an hour before, an in-game hour before it shows up, and my range is a lot larger. So they'll have a much more accurate moment-to-moment assessment of what the rain looks like, but I'll get to see what's coming a little bit more so ahead of them. So let me take another look now that some time has passed.
Oh, we got Whiteout on Comer. Comer has actually gotten the move done on to Whiteout. We'll see if we can replay that if we were just a bit too late for it. So actually, no, we're not too late for it. So this is on the start-finish line. Comer just burns it on through, side by side, coming into turn one. And Comer got it, so the Portuguese driver up into the lead. And here's the thing about Suzuka, it's really almost impossible to get a retake on this track, because most times you'll be able to try to go late on the brakes and try to get a retake a corner later, but you pretty much almost go straight into the S's, which, you know, following through the S's it's just been nigh impossible for pretty much anybody here to really make up ground through the S's, as Nuka is going to try to come around. Nobody else is braving the inters for now, as Rogue has had a bit of an off there. Oh, he's had a spin too, just after it, so...
Oh, now he's racing Tallman now. They're wheel to wheel. Tallman just getting ahead in the Dagners there. And, yeah, so what I saw on the rain radar there this time around looking, it did seem like it was the lightest color of cloud possible. However, there were a couple of little pockets of heavier rain that is dotted in there as well. And so it's going to be a gamble for these guys, basically just kind of hoping if they stay on these racing tires, hoping that those heavier pockets don't hit the track, and if they do switch to inters, then they're hoping it does hit the track.
I think what some of these drivers are really going to be hoping for at this stage is they're going to just try to wait and see if, because what I would personally want in this kind of situation is that if the weather does hit, I want it to hit like towards the end of my tire stint, so it's kind of almost like a planned stop anyway. That's what I would try to hope for, at least. Can't exactly, I mean, granted, what they're going to feel in the car versus what I am going to see, or what we are going to see here on track is going to be two separate things already. But, with that being said, yeah, it's a gamble, like you said, and I think Dennis is a fantastic driver, right? I mean, he's done really good. He's been a race winner here. Actually, he won last week at Trial Mountain in SWT. But also, I think he made that gamble probably a bit too early for those inters. I mean, because we can just see that his inters are already almost as worn as a lot of people's mediums.
Don't have water underneath those inters. They will burn up very quickly. And yeah, I think Dennis just at this stage of the race feels like he has nothing to lose, might as well try something. And yeah, took a gamble early for the rain tires. Doesn't seem to be working out for him too good. But yeah, like you said though, worst thing ever is if you are you're trying to hold out for when the rain comes, but then you have to take a pit stop for some new tires just a few laps before the rain comes, then you just took an additional pit stops worth of time off of your total race time there with no real benefit to you at all. So these guys are going to want to be patient and try to avoid that situation.
Alright, so King is in for new tires. A little bit of a splash of fuel. He's on the inters as well, so Tall Man also coming in. I think he might switch to the inters as well. So we see those Michelins coming out to the track now as the High Caliber Racing team gets ready for their pit stop here on the day. Tall Man into the box now. They're swapping the tires. The High Caliber McLaren going ahead and getting a little splash of fuel. Inters as well. Rogue coming in now in his GR Toyota. He's also gone for the inters, so everybody's now running the inters, and yet I still don't see any rain out on circuit at the moment, so their radar must be really, really good, and it must be showing the rain is basically imminent.
Yeah, so I just checked, and it's two different rain slots that just occurred. So the first one is like an extremely light little pocket of rain, but then it switched to a different weather slot where it was like a guaranteed wall of rain, of which was heavy. So the rain won't be here for very long, but when it does hit the track, it will be heavy rain to the degree that will necessitate at least inters.
Yeah, so, and yeah, we see Comer, Whiteout, and Illusion all diving on into the pits. F16 into the pits as well. So Comer on inters, and the rain is, the rain's here now. It has definitely started to hit. Yeah, there's the rain. The rain has picked up. You can see on the gauge on the bottom left, just to the right of the stopwatch, the rain has indeed hit the circuit. Somebody's come around though, just up the road. I'm not sure who it was. I think
it might be our race leader.
No, it's Dennis.
Might not be, though.
It's Dennis.
Oh, Dennis, okay.
He's stuck in the grass, and he is trying to get that LFO car back around, but there's just no grip on that wet. He's got massive damage to the front suspension. We'll see if we can get that, unless, yeah, no, we already missed that incident, so unfortunate there. But yeah, we'll see here as the drivers continue to race on. King gets past F16 though.
Still on the mediums. He has to make it through the chicane, I believe, and 130R here without crashing.
Oh, this
and then
is
he
tough.
will have gotten away with one. There it is.
Spin! Oh, he's into the wall, damaging the front wing on that Foxhound Speed Crew machine. And Nuko has just got a chance of a lifetime to jump up into the lead of this one, but he's also on.
He too has to make it through the chicane now. Same with Alex behind.
The three front runners on very slick intermediate, or very slick mediums at this point.
Look at him crawling into the pits there.
Alex has a spin though coming through Casio. He's missed the pits! Alex has missed the pits from the spin.
And there goes Comer. That's a net race lead right there for Comer.
Oh, Alex. I know he was aiming for the pits, but he missed it. So through goes wide out. Alex's race is cooked.
Yeah, and you can't exactly go back into the pits. It won't let you if you've passed the line. But yeah, Comer has to be very careful now too, because despite being on inters now at this phase with the rain, all of the inters runners, if we look at the water meter on the bottom left just next to the tires, this is almost full wets territory, so even the intermediate tires are going to be hydroplaning into some of these corners where the water is accumulating a little more puddles.
I was actually just going to mention that too, that it's almost full-on wet territory now as Alex is dropping down even another position, so I know he is fuming behind the wheel of that HCR McLaren, because, I mean, he would have probably come out...
Oh, there he goes again.
Yeah, he probably would have been in a bit of a decent spot, and he's in the wall again. King and ASJ, though, look at them battling it out for position. Viper spun! Viper's still on mediums. He switched to a new set of mediums.
Ooh.
What are we witnessing here in Suzuka?
Ooh. Yeah, that's not good. Ooh, and King just bumps off ASJ, it looked like, into the hairpin.
Gonna get a replay
ASJ
of that
fighting
one.
back with the OT. I just caught the back end of it, so I didn't know how, like, if it was, how egregious it looked, but I did see a little wheel-to-wheel contact. ASJ went wide.
Actually, no, there's no contact. ASJ just went deep.
Okay. Oh, yeah, big snaps there from King all over the place, while ASJ was on the boost, too, to catch up. He was catching up quickly, even without the snaps. Now he's all over him as they go into 130R. ASJ on the inside of 130R, tucking just back behind. It's a little bit harder to go through there flat out in the rain, but still very doable. Dirty air makes it sketchy, though. Tucks in just through the chicane. Doing so quite well. Now, this is a great opportunity for ASJ, one of the last great opportunities that he has going into the next lap to make this move.
Somebody has spun out there towards the end. Is that Alex? I don't think so. Who might that be? No, Viper. Oh, Viper.
Oh, yeah, Viper's just sitting put now.
Yeah, that might be his race done. He might be out of this one. Yeah, he's just waiting now, so that is Viper's race pretty much
just waiting
over.
On the other cars.
A very critical mistake for the Maltese driver, and the blue flag will be shown again. That is crucial in this championship, because that was a driver who is taking the fight to whiteout somewhat, and he is down in 10th, a lap down from everybody else. The only driver he's ahead of is Dennis, who made a very... Oh, and Dennis, he's in the wall too. He's got 3 points of damage on that car, so we'll see what happened here. He did box for a new set of inters. Did he just get a little too much on the throttle? Oh no, he that grass. Okay, yep, he touched grass. That was pretty much it. You touch grass, especially on especially wet grass. Yeah, no, you're gonna be spinning. You're gonna become a Beyblade on wheels.
Absolutely. And this race is not over by any means, as the rain that we did just see, as heavy as it may have been, was going to be just for a very short period of time. Now the track from here is going to start drying really quickly, as we already see the dry line already starting to develop as the rain has completely gone. And it's not going to be many more laps from here until we start seeing these guys think about, when can I start to get on a dry tire again? Now that's going to be quite a gamble, because it's extremely fast to be on the dry tire, but the wet line, or the dry line rather, is so narrow right now. You stick even just one wheel outside of that line, we're going to see exactly what we've been seeing with the medium runners for the last few laps.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of... I mean, there's definitely a massive... It's getting bigger now, but there's definitely a dry line. But here at Suzuka, I mean, even though, yeah, it's a pretty decently sized dry line, it's not that big in the grand scheme of things, because Suzuka is not a wide track. as Nuko actually does take a bit of a wider line through the hairpin, maybe trying to cool off those tires a bit by dipping some wheels into the water, as it's pretty spread out up here at the front, with Comer leading here, as he'll be ahead of Whiteout and Illusion as they continue to speed on through here. Nuko still trying to give chase, and I mean this battle here is kind of simmered down a bit between King and F16. The Spectre Acura Racing driver taking on the Project Zero Porsche driver as they go through. Tallman had a very rough qualifier, but he's just recovered from everybody else's mistakes. Rogue's had a tricky race, Viper pitting into the wrong tire, and Dennis, I mean, he's just had a rough go of things in general. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he'll probably stick through it, but if he retires, I honestly wouldn't even blame him, to be honest. It's been a really tough day in the office for the Greek driver. But at least he's on the right tire. Viper is not on the right tire. But was this part of the strategy, though? Did he plan, or did he know that this track...
in the pits already.
So did he know that this track was going to be wet? So King and
you
F16
might see a spin on pit exit here.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, it's mediums now for F16. You can see that grip. He's fighting for that grip because that is a very wet part of the racing circuit.
Lucky to stay on there. Yeah, because the track is at its wettest in that pit lane exit, and you got to get on dry tires through there, so it's very risky to exit the pits like that. But these guys did it, and now they're going to have a massive pace advantage over everyone else. And we also see two more drivers, Tallman and Rogue, also in the pits, switching to the dry tire. This is the stage now where these guys are going to be looking to do it. I do think the top guys are going to start doing it now too. Because what they're probably worried about is if you're Comer right now, you decide to extend, but you see Whiteout go into the pits, that's when I would be very worried for my position.
Tallman's got a 3-second penalty though for crossing pit lines, so that's going to put him out of his race. So Comer is staying out, Whiteout's staying out, Illusion's staying out, Nuko's coming in.
Nuko in. And the gap, 10 seconds to P1 for Nuko, so we're going to see exactly what kind of a difference these new tires are going to make. So 10 seconds going in, it's going to come out about maybe an additional 20-something seconds after that. And then we'll see what kind of gap he can make up after our top runners decide to pit. Then we'll see what the gap settles out to, as he has to be extra careful, and he makes it coming out of the pit lane. Now he just has to stick to the dry line, and everything will be all right.
Yeah, but we know that can be a bit easier said than done. But if anybody can do it, it's definitely going to be Nuko. I mean, Nuko is a very clinical driver here, as Illusion taking a bit of a wider line through the hairpin. We can definitely see that dry line, that lighter gray patch on the racetrack is the drier
Illusion
part
taking
of the
wet line.
Yeah, so he's got to at least make these intermediates last until they get to the to the pits. So I would be very surprised if anybody from the top three stay out, because those engines are not going to last another lap before suffering a pseudo blowout. So we'll probably see our front three coming into the pits. They have lost about 5 seconds based on a slick lap at this stage. So Comer is going to go ahead and pit in right at the edge of Casio Triangle. And if any of the front three stay out, we're going to be crushing those things.
Yeah, because like you said, a lap ago, it was more so, are the mediums ready? But now it's like, okay, we got to get off these inters now, whether the mediums are ready or not. But clearly they are ready, as most of the rest of the field has already switched to the medium tire, and we're not seeing any devastation up and down the grid so far. Like we saw a handful of minutes ago, everybody looks pretty good. We do got a soft tire in usage on Whiteout though, so Whiteout going to be taking the fight to Comer, comes out of the pits just behind. A lot closer than they went in. Less than half a second now. It's going to balloon up here through the S's a little bit, and that's going to make it harder on Whiteout's warm-up phase on those cold, soft tires. So ideally for Comer now is if Comer can maintain track position for as long as possible while Whiteout is on those soft tires, he's essentially nullifying the pace advantage that those tire compounds have.
Yeah, I mean, ooh, bit of a wiggle there for Whiteout. So I'll be curious to see how this one kind of pans out. Because you got to, I mean, with the soft tires, you got to be punchy. You cannot try to conserve on a set of softs. Because at that point, you're just kind of throwing away that pace advantage that you have. So when it comes to a soft tire, you need to go for it. You need to take the risks. And then once you're at it, then you can kind of conserve those tires. But until then, you got to push. You got to be punchy. You got to pretty much try to take them down like they insulted your mom's spaghetti.
Oh yeah, and on Mother's Day no less.
Exactly. Like, come on, man. You can't be doing that. As Whiteout now tries to close in the gap to
and
Comer.
Nuco on Illusion here. And we were just talking before when they went into the pits too. Nuco was 10 seconds off the lead time. Now he's under... so he gained about 6.5 seconds by being out just one lap earlier than these guys on the medium tire. So great decision from Nuco to come in that one lap earlier, and it has cost everyone in front of him. Oh, we got a guy spinning in the grass just as Nuco is about to attack Illusion. Let's see if we can see who that was. It was Dennis again. A 6-second penalty, so he must have had a pit lane infraction on entry and exit of the pit lane, because 6 seconds, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, also I will note, we did have our first retirement, and it was actually Viper. So the pole sitter is out of the Japanese Grand Prix. So it's already dramatic scenes here in Japan. We've seen weather come and go. And now are we going to see that soft tire advantage? Coming a bit of a wiggle there coming out of the hairpin for Comer.
Oh, Whiteout, yeah, all over Comer.
It's going to open the door. It's going to blow that door wide open. Here we go. Whiteout. He won't take the move coming through Spoon. He will wait until he actually needs to get a really good exit here and then just try to use a good amount of overtake. He's used so much overtake already though at this stage of the Grand Prix. Comparatively to Comer, hasn't used nearly as much. So this will allow Comer to slightly eke out that gap coming through 130R. But yeah, it's actually pretty rare to see Whiteout use this much overtake at just this stage of the race. It just seems like it's quite a lot for not even half race distance yet.
Yeah, all of our top four are well under halfway on there. Comer actually has the most overtake remaining out of these guys. We're not even halfway point in the race yet.
Yeah, that's pretty shocking.
Which is crazy to think, because so much has happened already.
Yeah, I know, it feels like this race has gone by super quickly, but super slowly kind of at the same point.
Oh, second retirement.
And
it is Dennis.
Yeah, that one, I mean, neither of the retirements really surprised me, to be honest. I mean, Dennis, I mean, he was just having trouble all race long, and then you had Viper, who pretty much just had, I mean, Viper pitted on the wrong tire, and that just pretty much cooked the strategy for the rest of the Grand Prix. So, not entirely surprised to see those retirements. It is unfortunate, though. But, I mean, Dennis will at least get another shot next week, because he'll be here for SWT, I think. So, he'll at least get another shot for redemption. And that's kind of the fun thing for these drivers who are kind of doing double duty, although I think Dennis was the only one this week. Oh, Dennis is a tall man. They're the only ones this week doing double duty, as May JP isn't racing this weekend. And also, who else is not racing this weekend that normally does a double? Ducky.
Pixel.
Pixel and Ducky, yeah, so. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that is the nature of the beast that we call sim racing, where, I mean, sometimes one slight mistake can just throw your whole race out of whack, or even multiple mistakes. It just kind of forms like a domino effect as it tumbles down. But here we go. Whiteout still closing in on Comer. But once again, not enough to really make any real progress here on the day. He'll close in, but just not a whole lot here. Alex is another driver that'll be just kind of making this a race to forget. He already had a grid penalty to start. He had a good qualifier though, qualified second. Dropped down quite a bit due to penalties. But then that spin that made him miss the pit entry was kind of the one major factor that kind of threw his whole race into disarray.
Yeah, it's unfortunate stuff for Alex. It was really an incredible qualifying effort from Alex as well. And especially coming off of the back of a race where, and shout out to him for this, because this was really cool. I got to watch a bit of this and be a part of the kind of experience of him working on it. But he did an iRacing event where he raced against Oscar Piastri last week, and he actually finished ahead of him.
Well, there we go. So, I mean, Oscar Piastri's car started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I will say he did get kind of murdered on lap 1, and you know, it was the day after the real life Miami Grand Prix. He wasn't exactly used to the cars or anything, but it's still Oscar Piastri. He did a great job in the race too. He was climbing back up positions and stuff. But yeah, Alex did a good job in that race. I think a solid kind of midfield result for him, which was very good. Oscar as well, a little farther back, but he climbed up some positions, had some good racing.
Yeah, and actually a couple of years ago, I actually got to be in like this, because for those of you who may not know, I think I still technically do have the moderator status, but I used to be a Discord moderator for the McLaren Formula 1 team. It was unpaid, so I didn't get paid or anything like that. I did get a really cool Christmas card, though, at the end of the 2023 season. Or no, it was 2024. It was at the end of the 2024 season. But I got to actually be in a Zoom call type thing as part of a fan event with Oscar Piastri. I think his race engineer was there, too, so it was really cool to get some extra insight. Hearing it from the drivers directly, being in a Zoom call with them. So that was pretty cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah, I still got some friends of mine who still kind of work closely with McLaren, so I get to utilize those connections on occasion. And that's the cool thing about sim racing, is that you meet people that know people that know people that know people that know people, and then suddenly you're connected with a Ferrari esports driver.
Oh yeah. I mean, most of us too, we're really only like one person away from like anyone that you can think of. Like F1 driver, anyone in the motorsports world, like they're also really tied in very deeply to the esports scenes that we're kind of involved in a little bit. So yeah, it's really cool the people you brush elbows against when you're doing this stuff at a high level.
Yeah, I got to actually play some Discord games with Lucas Blakely, who's a McLaren esports driver. Still is, I think.
Ah, yes.
I got to hang out with him at one point via Discord, just through mutual connections. So yeah, take
That's
those,
Rogue's
people.
nickname, by the way, is Little Lucas Blakely.
I'll have to talk to my friend Victoria about that, because she's like his pseudo manager.
Oh.
Which is pretty funny. That's the connection there. Back
Nice.
when I used to work with Veloce Esports, which I actually forget that team is still around. I know they kind of had a bit of a falling off after their whole crypto adventure that still gives me PTSD about pigeons. That's definitely going to have to be a post-race podcast kind of thing to talk about that whole shebang. But as we are at the halfway stage of the Japanese Grand Prix, Comer and Whiteout still the closest battle on track at the moment, but not too far back. Nuko is chasing that illusion, but I think the tire advantage is starting to play in the favor of illusion, as everybody else is pretty well spread out here. So Whiteout's still going to try to challenge for this position as they make their way through the Casio Triangle. And that gap is closing. He is closing the gap little by little, but that soft tire is losing more and more grip. So he's pretty much almost burned off any advantage that the soft tire is going to have. He doesn't have a lot of overtake to play with either.
I think that Comer has done exactly his goal here, which was, and I'm not even sure that he's aware that Whiteout behind is on the soft tire, but to just nullify the pace advantage that the soft tire has over Comer, and he's done so because now he's kept him behind while his tires were in the prime window. Now they're starting to exit that prime window. Now they're burnt about halfway, And so now we're going to see Comer's car probably actually be the car that generates more grip, as we now see the gap starting to open up just a little bit. Usually we see the gap around 1 second with these top guys all race so far when they were on the same tire, but Whiteout was keeping that gap about half a second, which really put a lot of pressure on Comer lap after lap. So very impressed with him to maintain his composure throughout an onslaught of Whiteout just being right huge in your mirrors the whole time. Now the gap's starting to open up a little bit, making Comer probably a little bit more comfortable. And I'm really curious what this is going to do for Whiteout's race, because he is now on a completely different strategic interval to all of these other top drivers. Is it going to end up working out for him in the end, where he manages to hit just the right interval of tires and laps usage on the right compounds? Or is this additional pit stop kind of outside of the pattern that everyone else is on going to come back to hurt him by the time the end of the race comes around? I suspect the latter is more likely.
Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see as well, because I mean that's one of the beauties of motorsports, as Rogue is just served a bit of a slow down pen, as Comer is still going to go and try to run away here. Through the S's is really his best opportunity, but that tire advantage that's slowly ebbing away from Whiteout, although now it's back to about the 1 second gap that is kind of normal for the S's here at Suzuka. You really just gotta try to stay close. I mean, those soft tires are definitely running out of life. So is he gonna try to hold on here, or is he gonna try to just start making another early pit stop, maybe for another set of mediums?
Yeah, I would think that at this point, now that you're seeing the guy that you were just hanging with this whole entire stint, now he's starting to pull away from you. Every single lap that he waits on these tires, he's losing time to the race leader. So if I were him, I'd be considering jumping in the pits just to stop this time loss that he's experiencing right now on the very worn soft.
Yeah, so we'll see here. And yeah, now he's just losing a bunch of time. He'll gain a smidge of time, but now that gap is really just staying steady. He's not really gaining or losing a lot of time here. He did gain, I think he did just have a better exit on Spoon, but now coming through 130R, he just lost a little bit of grip and a little bit of time there. So we'll see what he does here. Does he pit? Should he stay or should he go? Is going to be the question. He stayed on track, so there's a blue flag ahead. I think that's for Tall Man, I think. Yeah, that's for Tall Man, who's just up the road here from Comer and Whiteout. And yeah, I think if that gap drops to about 2 seconds, and I think Whiteout really needs to consider a pit stop at the stage.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I would have done, but maybe he knows something we don't know. Maybe he has kind of got his intervals planned out a little more ahead of time. Maybe he knows if he has to incorporate another soft tire, or he just knows how long the mediums last, or something like that, that necessitates him being on the soft tire for a certain amount of laps, just to make sure that it works out for him mathematically. That I'm just not sure of at this point, because just from the eyeball test, just basing it purely off of the pace and the gaps we're seeing, I would want to jump in immediately, because that gap has already doubled since last time I mentioned it.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely gonna be time for Whiteout to come in and ditch the softs and chuck on a set of mediums. Now, if you want to try a bizarre strategy, you could go for the hards, but the hards are gonna be so slow on this track that it's just not worth it. He will get slipstream though. Tall Man will pull up to the inside and allow Whiteout to go through. So that'll save him a little bit of time, because he did get a marginal tow. But yeah, I think the tire advantage is fully out of Whiteout's corner now, so he's going to make a pit stop here. Yeah, there he is. Oh, but he crossed out. He had a tire just on the line on pit entry, so I wonder if he'll get away with that, or if he'll get slapped with a pen there. But he did put him on a different track compared to everybody else, so I'll be curious to see how it plays out. So the Spectre Echo racing car into the pits now. Putting on some new tires, new mediums, and he got away with it. So no penalty for the championship leader, and fresh mediums to boot, while everybody else is on that 50% worn tire.
Now, I was just thinking about the championship picture too. Being down in P5, that could change a lot of things in both championships. Although, luckily for Whiteout, the car just ahead of him is his own Acura teammate. Therefore, he can get the extra points off of that team orders. He probably won't do it right now. There's still a bit of a gap, so he's going to let his teammate King go on. But if he starts to close in on King, I'm sure King will jump right out the way, even help him with a tow down the straight if possible, and then let his teammate go on, who is leading the championship.
Yeah, we'll see how that one does tend to kind of pan out here as they go on. They'll probably try to work together to some extent, and he'll probably, because Spectacular Racing still wants to try to fight for the Constructors' Championship as well, because it's pretty much just between them and EXO at this point, this stage of championship. I don't think, unless like EXO and SIR just stop showing up, I don't think there's any way for anybody else to really even contend for this championship.
Whoa, Comer in the pits.
Okay, so he's actually reacting to Whiteout, I think, so. Which
is interesting. I wonder if he thought this whole time that Whiteout was on the mediums and that he's covering off like an undercut. But potentially as well, even though he could have gone way longer on that medium tire. Perhaps he's just thinking long term, thinking that, okay, if like just putting himself back on the exact same interval that Whiteout is on, so that if Whiteout does do anything, if that strategy that he's on does turn out to actually be a tricky kind of genius little move, Comer's still right there in front of him with brand new tires ready to cover it off.
As now we see F16 coming into the pits. He'll chuck on another set of mediums as he goes out for his next stint. And they're going to go ahead and continue racing here in Suzuka, Japan. And we do have some interesting battles coming up here as Comer and Comer and Whiteout going to resume their battle from earlier on. Now, putting himself on the same stint as Whiteout actually might be, I'd say that classifies as genius, honestly, because that's gonna force Nuko and Whiteout, or Nuko and Lusion, to kind of think like, okay, well, clearly they're seeing something that we're not, so either they're gonna commit to their strategy and end up on a different pit stop interval and potentially end up behind. Lusion's gonna say no dice on that one. He's gonna pull off to the pits.
And now Comer, who actually has the worst tire wear of them all based on his mediums right now, I'm not sure that he might have pitted a bit earlier than the rest, because recently his tire wear usually isn't known for being quite as good as the other top runners, but this is kind of significantly worse, a little more than I would suspect, so I do think that's probably just from a few extra laps worth of running. King actually has rear wing damage as he comes into the pits. Something happened to King's car. He was about ready to come in either way, so luckily he probably didn't lose too much additional time from the damage. Lucky for it to come right in his pit window. However, you never want damage necessarily, as he comes out right in front of his rival, Alex. And these two are, you know, they like to talk to each other in the general chat, I'll put it that way.
Yeah, so I mean these two, you know, you get the new gen and the old gen just battling it out here, although I don't think King is that much older than you and I, B23. I know Alex is like, what, 17, I think, if I'm not mistaken?
I think King might actually be younger.
Really?
I think he might be just around college age, end of college age, I think. I do remember him mentioning stuff about exams before.
Okay, this is gonna sound absolutely horrible, and I know I'm gonna hear about it post-stream, but that King was like late 20s, approaching his 30s. I am not gonna lie to you.
You would think so. I mean, he's been occupying the retirement home for quite a while, so I would have thought much older even.
He's a young.
He's a younk, that's for sure. Absolutely.
Oh, we are definitely gonna hear about that one after the race. I can already kind of see it.
Yeah, that's alright.
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, we have said worse things on stream. We have started the football versus soccer debate too many times to count.
Oh yeah, we had to run that back today.
Of course,
been a while.
It's like tradition. You got two American commentators. Of course, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and the conclusion. So they might have some cooler jerseys, but we have the superior sport, a real man sport.
Yeah, and then you got the best of both worlds being rugby.
Yeah, not bad. I'm cool with rugby.
Although I think whether you say football, whether you say soccer, I think we can all agree that motorsport is truly the best sport ever. I don't care what Stephen A. says about racing not being an actual sport. I mean, if golf's a sport, which to be fair,
Stephen
golf
A.
is
don't know nothing.
Actually, correction. If chess is a sport, then racing most certainly is.
Oh man, well if chess is a sport, then Yu-Gi-Oh is an extreme sport.
I know a commentator that does chess stuff, and I mean, granted they're dead asleep now because they're Australian. But if they were here right now, I would get a text full of correcting me on how chess is actually a sport, XYZ. I mean, that is the commentator I am currently mentoring at the moment, so...
Nice.
Yeah. Crazy things have
it must be very exciting commentary on the chess.
And they go for the Croatian Gambit.
Oh, yeah, I don't know any move names.
I don't know, I'm just pulling that one out of thin air. They probably do, though. I know Phoenix has Phoenix. That's the name of the commentator I'm mentioning. I know they've watched. They watched the Canada round. I don't know if they watched any other rounds of GPL,
oh, nice.
But I feel like they're probably gonna have some actual move names that I'm probably just gonna question them, and I'm not gonna know anything about it. I need to get like a list of like actual like chess maneuvers and such, and then make it a challenge for. Say, maybe when we hit Deep Forest 2 weeks from now, we can make a game of like calling every overtake or every pit strategy, a chess move. Like, yes.
That would be good.
That's
a deep cut.
The Swiss Seahorse Gambit.
Yes.
Where do you even get names for that kind of thing?
Oh, and there goes Nuko.
Yep, into the box. And this is now the... Okay, so actually, hang on. Here's a real question, though. Do you think it's more like, is it more along the lines of, like, golf commentary? Or is it more like, you know, sports...
Pod is dead!
And by God, it's a bishop!
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that chess is... Now it's a good sport. Extreme.
Extreme Championship. It's now, oh, Rogue! He spins it, coming through the Degnas. But he keeps the car phasing in the right direction, jumping into GR's very rich rally legacy. And he has gone around and around like a merry-go-round. Very tricky stuff for him.
We've seen a handful of Beyblades out on the track today. Oh, and a big snap there, just trying to recover the car. And now we got Tall Man under blue flags again for his pal ASJ, probably providing a bit of a tow here as, yeah, there goes ASJ just before 130R. And yeah, so the chaos from the rain has really spread the field out, but we got a couple of guys that are close together, but just not quite able to close in and make moves on each other, namely that being Whiteout on Comer for P1 and Nuko on Illusion there for P3, the final podium position. However, I will say that being out on those tires for the additional few laps for Nuko probably put him on the back foot a little bit. About a 3-second gap as it currently stands. Nuko on slightly newer tires though, might have a little bit better of a time, although Illusion, his tires are also in very good shape. I don't think the difference between those is going to play that big of a factor, even towards the end of the race, I don't think. Now, Nuko is closing in that gap a little bit, though. He's closed about a second in the last sector by itself there. So that was a quick sector for Nuko. perhaps a slow sector for Illusion.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some sort of tire advantage in play here. And I mean, that's the thing about Suzuka, is that tires are always going to be a very important thing when it comes to just trying to get that track position, trying to get good times. Because, I mean, that's why the softs were so, like, lethal for the first couple of laps when Whiteout was running them earlier. Because you have so much grip, and this is a very grip-sensitive circuit, that if you have more grip than the car ahead, then you're going to really benefit, especially coming through the S's, and somebody's spun around. And it is Alex actually having a bit of a spin on those worn medium tires. I think he was trying to chase down F16, but that effort has pretty much fizzled away. A tricky day in the office for the young German driver, as now Whiteout is going to try to close in the gap. He had that gap closing a little bit, but once again, once you get to the S's, that gap just expands heavily. So, I mean, if you're not... I mean, you got to make the pass before the S's if you want any prayer of trying to hold on.
Right, and like you said, the tire advantage being important on a track like this, where the grip levels that Whiteout was able to generate through those S's when he was on the soft tire, we could see it actually made it so that that gap through the S's, staying about 1 second, he was actually able to keep it within about half a second, so just pushing through the dirty air. All thanks to that additional grip of the tire, but now that we see they're on the same compound, he just cannot break through the dirty air. It is like a moving force field at just about 1 second behind the car ahead.
Yeah, exactly that. And I mean, dirty air will also really screw up your tires too if you sit in it for too long. As we're down to the final 11 laps of the Japanese Grand Prix here. Two separate battles going on for different podium spots. Nuko now trying to chase down Illusion. It's looking likely to be a double XO podium here on the day, as they're going to continue to speed on through. We'll see if Whiteout can catch Comer or if Nuko can catch Illusion. Both EXO cars currently sitting in podium positions under threat from two different teams. The Season 6 championship battle is replaying itself here. Kind of went back to the Wayback Machine for this one. F16 in the pits. He's got damage though. So he's got 2 points of damage on the front left suspension and the front wing.
Alex on Rogue. Alex Rogue battle.
Oh, they're not even fighting for position because Rogue is a lap down.
Oh, and then it goes into the pits.
Almost unnecessary battling there, really.
Yeah, I mean, it gave us something.
Sure, Rogue will be extremely pleased about that one.
Yeah.
Nuko's really he's really closing the gap on Illusion here, so those fresher tires really playing well for the Frenchman.
Yeah, I was noticing that too. Nuko right behind, even looking, taking a look on the inside on a couple occasions into the hairpin just to see if something was there, and now he's within range on the back straight. We're gonna see if it is enough. I don't know. It's borderline here. I think Illusion got just enough out of that exit to keep him at bay. Yeah, it does seem so as they approach turn 1 here, and then here's where it gets difficult to follow for Nuko. But yeah, the slightly newer tires are looking more newer now than they were a few laps ago, as Illusion's tire wear is starting to increase a bit.
I just noticed something. Hang on. I gotta see if this is the case here. So here's a fun fact about this car. We don't know if it's on purpose, right? Let's take a look at the Toyota here for a second. It's got Rogue in the rear wing, and then you got Rogue here on the halo. Whiteout. Or sorry, not Whiteout. Nuko has Rogue on the halo, but Whiteout on the rear wing.
Oh, sweet. That'll happen.
Disqualification?
Hey, I mean,
I'm kidding.
Yeah. That's exactly what should happen here. Gotta ring up all the admins, all the stewards. Red alert. We have an infringement. No,
like,
but
this
I've done that before.
Under any circumstance.
I have done that before on at least one occasion before. You know, livery designers who like to incorporate some personal touches for the driver, include the driver's name, you know, beyond just the racing number. And then when you have to then copy paste it to make multiple versions and then switch out the names and numbers, sometimes when there's like 3 instances of the name, you can just forget to replace one of them. And yeah, it sucks when someone notices.
Instant race ban for Nuko. So, alright guys, so Nuko is going to retire for the rest of the season. He has been DQ'd. All of his points go directly to LFO. I'm kidding. Nah,
yeah, specifically to LFO.
Specifically LFO. Nah, it's going to fly under the radar. I mean, there was some livery stuff at the beginning of the season, but that's just kind of died down quite a bit. Early season things, so it's not a big deal. We're just making it a big deal just to have some fun here. We like to have fun. If you're taking everything too seriously, then you're just not doing it right. Let's just be honest here, as Nuko is really making the most of this stint. Trying to catch up to Illusion now. The gap is just over half a second. Under 3/4 of a second now as they make their way to Spoon. How much of that gap can he close in? Oh, he's going to aim for a bit more than a spoonful. As now he gets a good exit, coming to 130R.
Yes, indeed. So it has been a really good stint for Nuko thus far, but now he's reached the business end of the stint where he has to get past a car in Illusion, who has been really good this race. Very stable and steady as far as his race pace. Just doing exactly what we expect of him, which has been make us a little bit nervous in quali, end up with a decent position out of it, and then just race pace end up ruling the day. Have some good moves in the beginning, really solid strategy and execution of that strategy more importantly. But now we got Nuko just behind, so we'll see if he can also add in handling pressure into that list of boxes that he's been able to check so far.
Yeah, so good battles happening here through Suzuka. We got a battle for third and then a battle for first as it goes on here. The battle for third is a bit closer as we approach the final 5 laps here of the Japanese Grand Prix. Illusion now is still going to try to run away here from Illusion trying to run away. Yes, Illusion running away from himself. I mean, that's one way to kind of look at it. He's running away from his championship rival, the top 2 in the World Championship last season. Now scrapping out for P3 on the road as they continue on here. Just doing a quick check through the field. Alex is somewhat catching up to F16. He's knocked out about 4 seconds of a gap, but they both pit in around the same time. So
Nuko off.
Oh!
Nuko off as Spoon.
So we'll get a replay of that. So they're making the run up to Spoon on the exit of Hairpin. Did he just overbrake himself?
P3 for Illusion.
It does. Oh, he just kind of he lost under braking.
Was he in the wake of the dirty air, you think?
I think so, but it looked like he touched a little bit of grass. So I think he just braked and it just kind of pulled him inside, like almost just magnetized to the grass pass on the inside of Spoon. Got a spoonful of grass and, well, you can't exactly say here comes the airplane when you're trying to come through Spoon there.
Not when there's so much dirty air. The airplane doesn't work at Spoon, unfortunately. But yeah, so that all but solidifies the P3 podium position there for Illusion. Now it is just up to see if Whiteout in these final closing laps here can close up to Comer, but it seems like Comer is actually just pulling away little by little as the laps die down. As we now got Rogue just behind, putting some blue flag pressure onto Whiteout. I'm sure Whiteout's not too worried about it. Tall man in the pits as well. Oh, I was gonna say, for what reason would he want to pit so late? Probably because of that damage he has. He has front wing damage, front right suspension damage, and he's gonna take a new set of tires just because why not? You might as well. And I would venture to guess it'd be a set of, oh, no soft tires in at all actually. His pit crew was just holding the tires for fun, just to make me look dumb, I think. Nonetheless, out same tires. Probably a good thing to switch tires even though you're already in the pits. it is going to take an additional 4.5 seconds to switch tires while you're sitting there stopped. So you might as well, his tires were in good enough shape to just drive on through without switching.
Actually, what they had is they pulled out the tires, right, and they realized they pulled out snow tires, and they're like, wait, why do they even have these?
We can't use these.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe they just came back from Lake Louise, that's up in Canada, the snow circuit. Maybe they were just doing some winter testing at that facility.
Yeah, I think that high caliber pit crew is getting a talking to right now from the team bosses. A few people are getting fired as we speak.
Oh, Whiteout's off! Whiteout just had a spin to the hairpin! Oh no!
As Rogue patiently waits behind for him, and he has rear wing damage as well.
Did he lose
I wonder
on his
how
own?
he got rear wing damage.
Looks
Oh,
like
it does. So
connectivity.
Rogue apologizes.
Let's see.
So, yeah, what I'm wondering is if he did that on his own, or Rogue contacted him.
No, there's contact. It was contact.
Oh, amazing. I mean, it didn't look like that gap was closing to P1 though, I will say. So, although this could end up affecting him at the end of the day though, because now there's a 3-second gap. It is a pretty big gap, but Whiteout does have rear wing damage. That is going to hurt his pace a little bit. Is it going to be enough for Illusion to close in though? Rogue will have to get out of the way once Illusion closes in on him. Oh, never mind. He's in the pit, so he does give up the position. He's not even going to try to hold on. He has a feeling Illusion will get him. And Nuco as well, so he won't even be on the podium. This is incredible stuff now. This is a huge shakeup right at the end of the race.
Yeah, in the final 5 laps, I mean, this has championship implications as well. And he's on a set of soft tires, so he's going to try to at least go for that fastest lap point, probably. But that is...
Yeah, no overtake remaining, though, so he's going to have to just have the lap of a lifetime with no overtake in order to get this done. A 35, though, it seems doable. 35.3 from Alex. It's going to have to be a really good lap, though. And for the amount of points he lost, salvaging back just 1 additional point for the fastest lap, it won't necessarily satisfy, but it's a step towards atonement.
Yeah, we'll see here. Yeah, 5 laps to go. That is extraordinary drama right there at the end. Whoo, boy. This is going to get the fireworks between Toyota and Acura. And actually, here's the thing. Shouldn't have waited is the text message. I'm curious to see. I'm going to try to fire up a replay, see if there's anything that's noticeable about that. Not really. So I didn't really see anything of note that happened, at least at that point. But
yeah, I would just assume that if someone was waiting, it would be waiting for either a mistake was made, so he's waiting to, like, say sorry, or he just wanted to battle somebody, and he was just waiting for someone to fight.
Who knows? Maybe. I mean...
Oh, now Alex on purple sector 1 on the medium tire. And he has quite a bit more overtake left than Whiteout. So Whiteout has tire advantage, Whiteout tire advantage, Alex overtake advantage. Now he doesn't have a full tank to dispense on a full fast lap here, but it will make a difference. Oh, and that's another purple sector for Whiteout now as sector 1. Trading purple sectors are we between Whiteout and Alex on the final laps here. And that's a purple sector 2 for Whiteout now, so despite no overtake usage at all, he is purple in 2 sectors.
It's going to be almost like watching a quali battle here. Alex going to make his way to Casio Triangle. We'll see what he can do here. This is a spot where it's such a small part of the track, but it's a part where you can really make or break your lap time if you're not too careful. And he sets a new PB, a 135 triple one.
Oh, new fastest lap for Alex, and it is a purple sector 3. He's up 1 second on his time as well. Whiteout looks like he's going to get it as long as he doesn't completely fumble the chicane here. It is probably going to be an extra point going to Acura.
Yeah, so here we go. This is going to be
oh yeah, and that's a big
scrap.
lap time.
All right, so here we go, and yeah, that's exactly what he needed right there. A 133. Yeah, nobody's gonna touch that one. As there's about 3 laps to go here of the race, and it is gonna be Comer ahead of Lucian, ahead of Nuko is your likely podium, unless Whiteout can make up about 3.5 seconds a lap. And we'll see. It could be a really good one, but we are just gonna have to see how it all plays out here as we make our way through.
Yeah, now so we got Alex about 1 second behind Comer, less than a second behind Comer. So if Alex is trying to get a fastest lap point, but he's a lapped car behind the race leader right now and will not want to interfere with that race. Kind of a tricky spot to be in right now if you're Alex. Also, Alex not having nearly as much overtake as he did on the last time of asking. So probably just going to sit behind for now, especially given that he is on the medium tire. Unless you have a full tank of overtake, there's not really much you're going to be... Oh, it does look like he wants it. He wants the fastest lap point, I think. Yeah, Alex is an extremely competitive-minded person. If he sees a challenger in front of him, he's going to get scrappy.
Yeah, so
there's a huge gap behind. He's not losing anything for doing this either.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't take another splash of fuel just to give him that little extra leeway, but I guess it's qualifying for Alex at this point. Like, he knows he got a good qualifying lap earlier on. He qualified second here in the race. Is King going to go for the same thing?
Yeah, it's literally turned into a qualifying battle right at the end of the race. Huge gaps up and down the grid allows people to take the additional pit stop without losing track position. So they're going to take brand new tires. Now, one thing I do notice here, King, however, from P5 has way more overtake than either Alex or Whiteout had. So King actually going to have a really good shot. Now, Alex did qualify kind of significantly better than King, but that overtake makes a big difference.
Indeed, as we're on now the penultimate lap here of the Japanese Grand Prix. Almost on the final lap here as Comer is going to make his way on the run to 130R. It has been a very competitive race here today. I mean, it's been competitive than some of the more recent showings, especially on the track that, you know, we didn't really have a lot of expectations of it being really punchy here today.
Alex behind Nuko. Just stuck behind P3.
Just because we know that it's a narrow track with not a lot of overtaking opportunities, and Alex, here's the thing though, Alex is going to get blue flagged. So, oh, what are we seeing here? A battle between P3 and P7 on the road. That is definitely not something that was on my 2026 bingo card. They are battling for position here. And
this is his last chance to go for fastest lap.
It's the final lap here. Nuko doesn't have any more overtake, and him and Alex are going to scrap it out. Wow, okay.
That right there essentially kills Alex's fastest lap attempt right there alone. Yeah, I think he was just desperate for track position so he can have clean air to do his lap, but Nuko not wanting to let High Caliber get that point.
Yeah, we're going to go
Although I'm also not sure if Nuko is aware that Alex is on brand new tires attempting to go for a fastest lap attempt either, because Nuko doesn't have too much to lose, although there is a car in Whiteout not too far behind, so if something bad were to happen he'd be vulnerable. But he might have, if he knew that, he might have just let Alex go on by to not risk having anything like that happen, but it ended up working out for both of them. His tires are pretty well dead at this point, Nuko's, but I think he can hold on through 130R in the final chicane to keep this podium position away from Whiteout, who is about over 3 seconds behind.
And now coming across the line, Comer wins the Japanese Grand Prix here in Suzuka. A very commanding drive, as he is pretty much led almost from lights out to the checkered flag. It'll be an EXO 1-2. Lucian comes across line P2. Nuko in the special livery He gets P3 on the road. He will round out the podium. And Whiteout, he's out of fuel! Whiteout is out of gas. Can he use the momentum to make it to the line? He will,
yeah, he's got it.
But he's out of fuel. Wow, extraordinary stuff. Extraordinary. King, we'll see how the fastest lap out is going to go. Alex did not get the fastest lap away from Whiteout. Can King get it away here? He's burned all the overtake. He's not going to get it. And he will improve,
it looked like King ran out of fuel too right at the end.
He did, yeah. And then F16 is going to be the last driver to come across the line now. He'll come home in a very respectable P6. And that is going to be the end of the Japanese Grand Prix. Your winner is Comer, as ASJ is going to make his way across the line now for that final position on the racetrack, that P6. Very solid points as the sole Project Zero driver.
Yeah, in the beautiful Sakura livery as well.
Yep, and then that is going to be the end of the race. But your race winner, through not much contest really, is going to be the one, the only, the Comer, as we go ahead and go on through. So we're going to go ahead and talk about our race results here at the end of the day. Comer wins the Grand Prix ahead of Lucian, Nuka, Whiteout, who did keep the fast lap because his teammate actually backed off to make sure Whiteout got the extra point for the championship. F16, P6, Alex P7, Tallman P8, and then Rogue is the last driver who finished, with Viper and Dennis not being able to finish the Grand Prix. So that's going to wrap things up here in Japan, but we have next week for the Sprint World Tour. So we'll see how that one plays out. But before we go, do you have any final sending off quotes here, B23?
It was a good one. It was a really, really good one. But yeah, just the usual. Make sure you're liked and subscribed to this YouTube channel. Notifications turned on, all that good stuff. And follow us on Instagram at Grand Prestige League, where we be posting the standings to the championships, both drivers, constructors, race results. And we do race briefings before the rounds too, so you know exactly what to expect, where they're going to be racing, and what all the little situations and details are. So make sure to give us a follow there. And don't miss any of the action, because we still have several rounds left to go. The championship is heating up. And just like this round, anything that could have happened did happen today. We don't know what's going to happen next week too. We're going to be right back here at Suzuka.
Alright, so on behalf of B23, my name has been Patrick Coleman, aka Rekus, and we have been your hosts and commentators for tonight's action. Tune in next week when we head to Suzuka once again, and then the week after that we'll be back for Deep Forest for the penultimate round of the season. Stay hydrated, happy Mother's Day, and we'll see you guys next time. Good night.